Hello! Thank you so much for joining us here at GOBS Collective's digital showcase. We're going live tonight. The last event that we had, we did a poetry film showcase, and tonight the collective have come together to deliver a poem each is a live performance with the support of the amazing Debris Stevenson is going to be joining us a little bit later on. But before we kick things off, I'm looking down here at the chat. We've got chat down here, and I just want to say hello to everyone. So if you're here, if you're with us, give us a hello. Let us know where you're from. Throughout Nottingham Poetry Festival, hi Catherine Hewitt. So throughout Nottingham Poetry Festival, we have been using hashtags as claps, and we've been using asterisks as clicks. So if you're at a poetry event and you don't want to disturb someone's line, we often click just to say that we really appreciate that line or that sentiment. So yeah, drop us some hashtags if you're enjoying what's going on tonight. So just to give you a little bit of a background of what GOBS Collective is, I'm Bridie Squires. I'm the creative director at GOBS Collective, and I've been working together with our co-producer Ioney Smallhorne to we've developed a series of workshops that we have delivered to our collective. We delivered them earlier on in the year, and the whole idea was to create these workshops that ran up to a live showcase. Obviously, lockdown came, and here we are. I'm in my living room. I haven't got any shoes on. It's very, very strange from what a normal live performance would be. But here we are. We're adapting to all of the changes that 2020 has brought us. And yeah, I'm just so excited. And I know Ioney is as well, to show you these amazing writers, these amazing performers, and what they've got in store for you. So GOBS Collective runs in collaboration with NTU's curated and created program. So just want to give a massive shout out and thank you to Barbara and Helen from NTU for supporting us all the way in delivering this program, which we're going to do another series of workshops that would be amazing if you lot can apply for, if you're interested in. Applications are available on our website now. And also massive thank you to Burko, who I've seen in the chat already, from Apples and Snakes, who again has just been incredibly supportive. So just over to the chat. Hi Darren, hi Claire, Debris in the chat, Benedict, Tracy, hi Sonia, amazing. Yes, Veronica, great. Okay, as I say, put them hashtags together for the for the poets that you're about to see. Put those get them asterisks going for the clicks. And that's enough from me, really. You'll have a big string of performances now, and I will see you on the other side.
Boogle spelt slinkly, dingering down into before the time when future came, when all vinglings mealdered with the green, lived true, and empty hands received fair share, plumply soft and velveteen, stroking all, till darkness fell, and Velging came, slithering, bristling, spleening Ziles, and promising more, if only vinglings learned to hate and never question why. But Slicking Velging's promise wasn't true. And in the tomorrow, only kleptoks rose higher, hatching plans squares big, building empires and slanking many, while Vingling's vessel, Velging's violent hate, and in the under, cracking, spleeched and bleached, and Vinglings turned to Splench and Zyle their own, forgetting together and scorning empty hands, till many hungered and the glowing was gone. Boogle pain to see the Vinglings change. Simping sorrow, he wandered down into Pumpley Hollow. Smoogled down till wooming sleep came. And in the dreaming, the whistling wind whispered, Boogle, all things change.
What's that? How do I feel? I feel shocked. I feel disgusted. I feel sick. Sick like I've been whipped. Whipped by the man, the whip hand, and the history books. My heritage of pride and industry shook. I'm repulsed by the thought of sugar passing my lips, knowing its sweetness hides such bitterness. Imported to mask the taste of coffee and tea, it created an industry which people were not free. Not free to live the lives that they were meant to, but instead punished. But instead enslaved and treated like cattle. Punished for wanting to just be free. Free from a life of slavery. Free from cruelty, sadism, and racism. Free from the cane fields, the masters, and capitalism. I feel anger at the pioneers who bought my ancestors to progress their careers. I feel sadness that profit and loss were deemed more important than the lives that they cost. I'm tormented by visions of shackles and branding irons, and copper manila traded for people's lives. The torture, torment, and pain, though legally abolished, still remain in the pages of books and the records of history that revealed an industry that treated people like property. One colour completely dominating another. Denying their culture, their rights being smothered. Convincing themselves and believing their own lies that dark skin, woolly hair, and dark brown eyes were the traits of people they deemed lesser than them. The traits of people they decided were less than human.
What do you say, man? No, it's calm. I got one. It's all good, man. It's all good. So what are you not talking about anyway? You still going on about that? What the smeg does it matter? Seriously. Bro, the Sainsbury's advert doesn't affect them and it doesn't affect you. No, I get it. I hear you, but it doesn't affect anything. There's no difference. It doesn't change. There's no difference to the eggs, the bread, the milk, the chicken. There certainly doesn't affect the gammon in there. What's that? Nah, I don't think I know it all. Like you know me, and you know you get me. You know what? What is what? What is Britishness? All right, let me explain. It's apparently not me. I wasn't born with an opinion of the world, but it already had one in me. By 7, racism was normal. By 9, I understood I'd never be treated equal. Serious. I've been called all sorts. Al-Qaeda, terrorist, black illegitimate. Not British though. Serious. All of them. Serious. A Paki, a monkey, nah. You know what? I ain't giving that phallus the satisfaction. I'm not letting him live rent-free in my head. I'm going to flip the script instead. I'm going to use that pain to educate and explain. Serious. I've been called all sorts. But never British though. You get me, bro? Never. Never. I even once got asked why me, yes, me, blew up the Twin Towers. I know, you know what I'm saying? It makes no sense at all, does it? Even at 11, trying to explain the logistics of that, it's just mad. But I'm so confused. How can I not be British? Discounting the fact that I was born here as my parents and you? But my grandparents. I mean, you have a German royal family and a Norman ruling elite. A Roman Middle Eastern religion with an Indian national dish. An Arabic Indian numerical system and a Latin alphabet, and you forget. Originally, a lot of you were Eastern Europeans or speaking Hebrew. And serious, those races don't even realize that the swastika symbols, they were Indian too. But on a level, remember, you'd have no empire if your army was all Mr. Whippy and no flake. What's that? Yeah, what about them British immigrants? Sorry, I mean expats. And yet I'm the one that needs to fuck off back home?
When I look at you, I'm really looking at me. I'm seeing me through eyes that I think you see. I'm hearing me through ears that I think you hear. Through mind that I think you think. Through thoughts that I think you link. How dare I assume you, whilst entirely consumed by me? Let me hook your line, resign to your mind, unwind and recline to the pause. Let you shine from the center of you. Not define my flaws by some sideline filter epicenter of attention seeking. I'm commandeering and only steering half of a reality. Fully smothered, going all ego on this show. flowing inward black hole, using you for a mirror. Addicted to the scent of pent-up judgment, inspecting everything, reflecting I gotta zoom out. Step back. And lean in. Toward detection of the most beautiful moments in between. The silent connections. The slight, easily missed whisper inflections, hinting. The not yet seens. The who knows what. The unguessable. I looked at
He misses the days spent, evenings spent together again. A shoulder that he leant on, just him and his best friend. He wouldn't cry, only sleep, peacefully dreaming, knowing that the clone of himself was right there next to him. From birth, they were together, catching trains in the rain as brothers, playing games, counting days when they were apart, only tired when they fell into each other's arms. He would dream and believe that they would always be close, unseparated, no agony, holding each other close. Brothers tied as one, no tearing or cutting of their ropes. On the surface of it all, they were one running joke. But behind all the layers and the threads untangled, they were a single unit, bound by blood and bones. A brother, not two, only one, dived his body into a pool of blood, covering all layers and strings, fraying and dissolving all the binds, piercing himself behind the mind's eye, a single brother, lost and alone, not getting involved in other running jokes. He wouldn't dream, only cry himself to sleep, scream inside, hurting and hoping that his brother was still alive. Like his brother, his own body started to decompose. He wanted it to end. He needed not a friend, a brother, his brother there forever holding him tight, the only person who could do the job and do it fucking right. I was there, watching and trying to show my love and affection that was not communicated or reciprocated as a sister. I could not make the pain disperse, go away on a train away from touch, a connection that was not ready. The foundations had been crushed by the look of the deceased. He tells me I am not me. To him within my eyes lies the gaze of the fallen, our brother whose words would never again be spoken, afraid of the unconscious look that causes him pain, fearing that something would happen again, puncturing the arteries of the body inside. My look of our brother left him wanting to die. I can't look at you anymore. All I see is him. I would dream and believe that one day we would be close, unseparated, no agony, holding each other close, brothers, not brothers. You see, I cannot replace the brother that is lost. I can only be the version of myself that may not be loved, not loved immediately or even eternally, but holding on tight to the bond that was created at birth, bound by blood until we are earth, buried in the mud, but presently there, aware of the world that we once had, reliving the memories, but not going back. Yet he is constantly searching, presently unaware of the brother that he didn't realize was always there.
It's an age thing. With age comes patience and tolerance and wisdom for all things good and great. Like hell it does. With age comes an impatience to get things done. All the things that you kept on hold for that right time, but it never came. With age comes zero tolerance for BS. All that BS you tolerated when you were younger, there's no time for it now. With age comes a wake-up call. You left it too late. The time you should have spent laughing and joking and living, you spent tolerating expectations, towing the line, lying low. But age is a funny thing. It is only a number. It's never too late. It's never too late to live your dreams, to live by your rules, to live your life. Heed the advice. Better to be late than never.
Oh, hello. Oh, look at you. Looking good. You look great for your age. How's your sister? She was always the pretty one. I sound bitter, but I'm not, because I look great for my age. How's your mum? Is she still with that new fella? And your dad? Do you see him much? Sorry to hear about your gran, lovely woman. Nosy bastard. I sound bitter, but I'm not, because I look great for my age. I'd heard you'd had problems with, drugs. How the fuck does she know? I've not seen her since school, and the only problem that I've got is that I don't have any drugs. I sound bitter, but I'm not, because I look great for my age. Anyway, hun, got a dash, got 1,000,001 things to do. Hubby's waiting in the car. You know how it is? No, I don't know how it is. And I don't know who the fuck you are. But what I do know is that I'm not bitter. Because apparently, according to that woman down the aisle at Tesco, I look great for my age.
The red bell chimes, a bloodshot eye, and the humans crawl to plastics of grey meat. In the hamster, in the corner, Sting, staff room hamster, scuttles on a wheel. His stupid little face, stupid little life. My fingers buzz like tungsten. Work here long enough, the machines get in your bones. A flat pack person. Waiting for my food to warm, then cool, a woman talks at me, Tina. Her weekend hikes, long walks in laybys to remember the husband, hit by a truck whilst collecting roadkill on the A52. Tina is agelessly ancient, her perm a nest of bleach, lips thin and pink like a worm stretched between beaks. Per his request, Tina had hubby stuffed and set in the garden, tending to perennials, where magpies took his eyes. Tina smiles at her reduced fat chive dip. A carrot stick sinks to the depths unseen. Somewhere is a nest of marbles, she says, watching over me. For every unwashed teaspoon, a person, a sink of metallic me's. I drown my reflections in soup, a mug of vomit, and open the hamster's cage. With nothing to stop his escape, Sting looks at me, his eyes black pools of pity, as if to say, coming in?
When there's no time left to worry, what will be left but a pile of soil? So why don't you just get out there instead of staying in here? Yeah, I know it's irrational. All of these worries, chin clenching, back aching worries. I'm taking up all of her time, all of her life, can't get dressed, won't go outside. So what is left for people like me? And why am I stuck in bedding, not getting any sunlight, when I know this worrying's pointless? Keep panicking about your ugly face, embarrassing ways, trousers unbuttoned at the waist again. And what? Because my stomach hurts, people will think the worst of me. Keep catching your reflection, keep catching your reflection. Spotlights on all imperfections. Don't like what you see, don't want to be seen with these heart clutching, face blotching worries. The sad thing about it all is that I know our time is short. So when your life gets spent on worry, it's pretty frustrating when you can't. Just get out there instead of staying in here. But it's hard when the panic just sets in, takes over, and then that's it. Stomach flips, personality dips, and it's physically painful. But you've done it all before, got better again. Not this time. Feels like sanity left. So many messages unread and unsent. Can't connect. Yeah. It's such a waste of time. Not how I want to spend my head sore, bed sores from not moving. I get this advice from people who are really on my side, fighting my corner. One step at a time, babes, one step at a time, please. Try to be just a little bit more kind to yourself. Get outside, get moving, blood pumping, start running into something productive. Okay. But it's just not that easy to get dressed. People let you down. And it is genuinely difficult to get dressed. But you do. Eventually, yes. In spite of it all, with help from your people. Yeah, because I know my time is short. And if my life gets spent on this worry, I can't look back, feeling satisfied. So I have to, as scary as it is, go get out there instead of staying inside.
Whoa. Can we get some hashtags in the chat for our first half? It's just absolutely amazing. I cannot tell you how proud I actually am and how proud I know Ioney is, who's also with us. You'll see her in a little while. Well done to all the gobs. You're absolutely amazing. Like, yeah, it's just incredible. I'm like lost for words a little bit here of how much everyone has come on, how talented everyone is. It's really something to behold, and everyone should just be so proud. When we started out GOBS earlier this year, we did it with a certain organization in mind that I myself and Ioney used to be a part of, called Mouthy Poets. Mouthy Poets used to meet at Nottingham Playhouse every week, and the organization was founded by Debris Stevenson, who we're going to see in a little while. And Mouthy Poets ran on much of the same nature as what GOBS Collective does, in that we run a series of workshops and learning experiences, and it culminates in a live showcase. So Mouthy Poets is disbanded now, and I guess GOBS is, obviously with the name and everything, it's a massive nod to it. It's not by mistake. It's rising from the ashes of that experience that we had and gained so much from. And I can only hope that this experience is giving something in the same vein. And yeah, it's just so fulfilling to be able to see everyone's performances tonight. I've been watching on my little screen down here, and I'm just like, yeah, overcome with joy. So thank you everyone so much for taking part. As I mentioned at the start, applications for our next round of workshops is now open. So if you like what you see tonight, if it's something that you feel like you want to get involved in yourself, go to our website, gobscollective.org. When I got involved in Mouthy Poets because I went to a gig at Nottingham Playhouse, saw Mouthy Poets, and it was like, I think I found my people. So to get involved if you want to. Like, we've got an application process. It's really straightforward, and the deadline for that is the 20th of December. So there's a bit of time if you want to get involved. So as I said, Deborah was the creative director of Mouthy Poets, and just an incredible inspiration for all of us, in her tenacity, in her passion, in her confidence, and just being so on it and just driving through. Earlier this year, she was just starting her tour of Poet in the Corner, an incredible, can I call it musical? She used sonnets and stories and incredible narrative to tell her story, and crafted it off the back of Dizzy Rascal's Boy in the Corner album. Just an incredibly talented person, and I know that she's gone from poetry to theatre, is now working in TV. And after her performance that we'll see in a little while, we're going to have a Q&A with Jay, who you saw just a minute ago, with his amazing poem, What Even Is Britishness? So Deborah and Jay are going to have a Q&A. But ahead of her performance just now, just to let you know how Debris goes by, is she's a dyslexic academic, a grime writer, and a bashment-dancing social activist. So without further ado, present to you the amazing Debris Stevenson.
Hello, hello, hello. What a strange way to perform. Looking at my own face, but trying really hard not to look at my own face. I even have a picture of my own face that I painted behind me, so you'd think this might be some sort of hedonistic, narcissistic dream for me, but lo and behold, it's actually kind of stressful. So great to be here. Really sad that I can't be physically in Nottingham. It really is my home away from home. I lived there for 8 years, and Mouthy was a massive, massive part of my life. So it's really an honor to be here, to see the work that Bridie and Ioney have been doing. And I heard all your poems earlier, and to see the work that you've done on them, even in the space of a couple hours, has been absolutely fantastic. So I always say this before I do a Zoom gig. A big rule that I live my life by is the phrase disruption as opportunity. So whenever something disrupts me and I could be stressed the fuck out by it, I instead try and get excited by it and use it to find a new path. I live next to a giant railway, so there may be some disruption Wi-Fi wise. If there is, let's just see it as an intentional thing by the universe. Maybe it's a dramatic pause. Maybe it stops on a line, like to create a cliffhanger, you know, just ride the wave. And any disruption that I have or that we have, it's all happening together. And that's the beauty of liveness, right? We will never be disrupted in the same set of ways again. This is a special moment that we are sharing. So thank you. Thank you. Cleo also lives at a giant railway, so she knows the vibe. Cool. The first poem I'm going to share with you, I won't tell you the title because it will become evident. Special, sorry. Special. Special educational special educational needs special educational needs. SEN. Mumsy's trying over again. Assistant wants to be my friend, giving me books like Bill and Ben. SEN, red bic, bulletproof pen. Ink in water, I'm hemorrhaging. Only armbands for SEN. When I was born, yeah, I tore through. Mumsy like snot from a tissue. She did not know what to do, like small's an achievement, 2 + 2. Spelt name backwards, phew, shit, we can strap a name on you. Yeah, quick, call up the school, say dyslexic, set new rules like mum says difficult. School here's stupid. Mum says special needs, bro says stupid. He thinks if you call me stupid, then I'll believe that, like God, Cupid. Get to school and it's bottom set English. Teaching assistant up in my business. Talk mad fast, but I can't read it. Verbal sprint, hit water when I read it. Hit water when I read it. Verbal sprint, hit water when I read it. And I can't swim. Mum forgot armbands, dashed me in. Momentarily, I am thinking, how much water can I breathe in? Teachers ain't listening. Bottom of the pool in my feelings. Front stroke PJs, that's learning. Bottom set deep and slow sink in. Slow sink in. Bottom set deep and slow sink in. S-E-N, S-E-N. Mumsy's trying over again. Assistant wants to be my friend, giving me books like Bill and Ben. S-E-N, S-E-N. Red Bic, bulletproof pen. Ink in water, I'm hemorrhaging. Only armbands for S-E-N. Cause talk mad fast, but I can't read it. Talk mad fast, but I can't read it. Talk mad fast, but I can't read it. Verbal sprint, hit water when I read it. Hit water when I read it. Verbal sprint, hit water when I read it, yeah. And I can't swim. Mum forgot armbands, dash me in. Momentarily, I am thinking, how much water can I breathe in? Teachers ain't listening. Bottom of the pool in my feelings. Front stroke PJs, that's learning. Bottom set deep and slow sinking. You know, I heard the babies can swim. And maybe mum did too. And that's why she dashed me in. And no, it's a fallacy. They open their arms, push their eyes, float their lives. They piece together moves from other instincts. I believe in how differently I think. And swimming with myself, of course, they're gonna stare because I'm in the bottom set floating lyrics like air, but that's how I'll learn. I'll create my own strokes. I might look like a special kid trying to float, or I might look like a baby parting their eyes and floating towards you. Redefined. S-E-N, S-E-N. Mumsy's trying over again. Assistant wants to be my friend, giving me books like Bill and Ben. S-E-N, S-E-N. Red Bic, bulletproof pen. Ink in water, I'm hemorrhaging. Only armbands for S-E-N. The disruption of an email being received, as though a light bulb above my head. That's what it was a bit like that, wasn't it? Thank you, thank you. That's actually SEN. We made a short film of that. Me and a guy called Alfie Barker for the BBC and the Roundhouse. It's been in a lot of film festivals. Submitted it for a BAFTA, which is unlikely, but it takes a lot to even get submitted to the BAFTAs. So pew, 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 pew. It's also the first time I wrote about my dyslexia. I wasn't assessed until I was 21, when I was then described as having the clearest case of dyslexia my assessor had ever seen. So yeah, it's been a really long journey for a long time. People, I don't know, I just felt like maybe I was lazy. Maybe for a long time, I really thought I was stupid. So it was a big thing to be able to talk about. Yeah. So we're not being able to see your faces, but it's nice being able to see the hashtags, though occasionally I just think maybe my computer's broken. There's so many symbols at the side. Cool. So yeah, Bridie mentioned that Poet in the Corner, COVID sort of cancelled that halfway through our tour, and there were two or three things. I mean, that was gutting, period. But I was particularly gutted because we were literally just about to perform in Nottingham, and I started developing Poet in the Corner in Nottingham Playhouse. That's where I started developing the idea 6 years ago. And, you know, Mouthy gave me a lot of feedback on that. And I was really, to come back downstairs to really where my journey had begun as a playwright was really important to me. And I was really sad that I couldn't bring it back there. So I wanted to share a couple poems, songs, whatever you want to. It's been dubbed a grime musical, however you want to dub them. It's weird, like I know this, I got, the show's an hour and 15 minutes and I'm in every scene, and it's so weird how quickly the words deteriorate from your mind. So there's some of it, hopefully I'll remember it all, but I've got the book just in case. Also product placement, because I've got about 3 million of these in my house. Not 3 million, that was hyperbole, but if you want to buy one, just DM me and I can sort out they're £10. Yeah. So I'm gonna read just a couple from this. I'm gonna start with Jezebel. So it's based on the song Jezebel from Boy in the Corner. All of them are like, this actually has a sonnet in it as well. All the poems in the show are sonnets. The idea was to like canonize grime as part of the poetics of the UK and just say, this is phenomenal writing. And the fact that it is not canonized or respected in many academic fields is like hugely prejudicial. So for me, it was important that grime lyricism sat side by side Shakespearean sonnets to show how seamlessly you can move from one another. And then also mimicking the rhyme patterns from Dizzy's original album, because at university level, that's how you show learning. So really taking Dizzy's album through the same process that I took, you know, other writers through, which I went through for other writers. That's a sentence. At Nottingham Uni when I was studying there, then on my MA, and then also when I taught on the BA at Nottingham University. That's enough talking. That's enough talking, Debris Stevenson. That's how you know I'm comfortable in my house, just like sing things at you. Now it just feels like you're here with me, which is really lovely, actually. Cool. This is Jezebel, also known as a war's daughter. Jezzy joins me. Jordan grants her a zoo. All the man them are bunning and bussing joke. She must think that we're friends. Rests on me like dew. I spy 3 freckles on her right earlobe. She smells like lynx, aloe, and bacon rolls. Her skin is rum I don't know how to taste. They're all high, except me. Jezzy speaks slow and blurry into the fine hairs on my face, peering into me, my pinky in her palm. Breath waves deep as the lake in Barking Park. Momentarily, she clasps something I can't, her lips warm, submerging. All the boys start Jezzy laughs too, as Jordan escorts her to a mesh of metal behind the court. I was taught sex was evil, and it built a trench inside me. It feels like arms and knives surround me, till her weightless skin astounds me. But girls like Jezzy let men come down. Helmets, crowbars pulled her skin down. She made it look easy. But forces swarmed in freely. Look, I'll never be that free. I'll be a bulletproof vest at a house party when I can feel pleasure trespassing in me. Orgasm's a threat of treachery, like bolt cutters breaking into me. Yeah, church put a deadlock into me, so I bathed in my clothes till 15. Shame. Shame. Even love feels like a break in. Shame. Jezzy on the courts covered in him. Shame. She took me by the face, kissed me in public till I felt safe. Shame. Jezzy steps back, everyone laughing, they went mad. Next thing I know, she's going on bad. Took my boy Jordan there straight round the back. Jezzy, what did he do? You didn't let him what? What sketting? Man already said she's nothing. Seen her crying in the ladies, all she wants to be, she clings. Man already said she's nothing. Seen her crying in the ladies, been shipped about sketting. Man already said she's nothing. Seen her crying in the ladies, men in line. She's a loo, quick ting. Man already said she's nothing. Touched once then, Jezebel. So I'm actually also gonna, the one other poem I'll do from Poet in the Corner, actually this one isn't based on a Dizzy song. It comes right after this one, actually, after Jezebel. Let me take a sip of water after telling everyone to hydrate in our masterclass earlier. It's called Temple. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Oh, I don't know if you can hear me clicking my neck. Is that gross? Well, it needs to happen. So here we are. This is Temple. You know what? I think this poem might work slightly better if we turn the lights off. Welcome to my rave lighting. I do actually have a strobe function on the light that's here next to me. But we've not cleared flashing lights, so let me be the inclusive person I like to be, and you can just imagine that if you want. Could turn this off completely, is that? I like it with it on. Look at me, live, doing my own tech live. Cool, this is Temple. It's 2006, I'm 16, and The Guardian give Lethal Bizzle a column entitled David Cameron is a Donut. Astonishingly, Cameron shoots back with a whole article in the Mail on Sunday called You're Talking Rubbish, Lethal Bizzle. It's Elisa's 16th birthday, boy. First shubs I've ever been to, boy. Batty Radders bestowed upon me, boy. I'm not entirely sure what a Batty Radder is, but my friends came true and lent me this. It's a short, so short, gotta hide this. Bury Batty Radders in recycling bins, changing the porch parents' sleeping when the mood is full. We're going in, drag Viper on the N86. Top deck disciples gather on this, passing round liquor like frankincense. Sony Ericsson against the glass like this. Vibrations are Holy Spirit, spitting in tongues with every lyric. I can feel the bass and it's sulfuric, and they levitate above their seats and their spines. Curve prophecies, it gets dark as the inside of me. Pelvis is fluid as a kettle steam, and they levitate above their seats and their spines. Curve prophecies, it gets dark as the inside of me. Pelvis is fluid as a kettle steam. I'm thinking about Mormon young adult dances, where my mum will literally go around checking that any young people dancing with each other are a Book of Mormon's width apart. When we get into the party, we have to go the back way, and it's round. And the air is thick as strong white rum. Phone torches are our only sun, yet we're following the rhythm like a northern star. Then like the Red Sea, the ravers part, and I start to move momentarily, inspired by auntie synchronicity, but then become self-conscious. Have I got a front wedgie? And they levitate above their seats and their spines. Curve prophecies, it gets dark as the inside of me. Pelvis is fluid as a kettle steam, and I levitate above my seat and my spine. Curves prophecies, it gets dark as the inside of me. Pelvis is fluid as a kettle steam. Temple to temple, temple to temple, temple to temple. And a boy moves in, renegade palm into my right hip, other on waist as we breathe and sink. This is what I'll learn we call whining. My body stops panicking. Something unlocked from this odd mannequin, and I look up at the ceiling and it's raining. Look up at the ceiling and it's raining. Look up at the ceiling and it's raining so hot. Condensation, and I levitate above my seat and my spine. Curves, prophecies, it gets dark as the inside of me. Pelvis is fluid as a kettle steam, and I levitate above my seat and my spine. Curves, prophecies, it gets dark as the inside of me. Pelvis is fluid as a kettle. How am I doing for time, by the way? So there's an alarm going off. Is that the response? No. No one's telling me. 15 minutes. Great. Perfect. Good. Good. Because I'm halfway. Boom. Boom. Should I turn the lights back? I kind of like this lighting, but it is a bit like face intense, isn't it? Just to get a little lighting change halfway through. Low budget lighting change. You know, we're poets though, so all of us have had gigs where it's like lighting change. It really has been that. So I wanna, this is like a little new writing section that I wanted to do. I think particularly as a dyslexic person, I've been really trying to push myself to read off the page more at gigs, because it's something I really avoid just because I find it so utterly terrifying. But disruption is opportunity. So firstly, actually, I don't really read much from my first pamphlet, although I do have a million of these as well, if you would like one. They're £4. Good to have a variety of merchandise. Just DM me on Instagram. Someone can put my handle up if you want to find me. My publishers blackmail me into doing this. It's very embarrassing, but whatever. I wanted to read a poem from this because obviously it's been a really difficult year for the world and for all of us. And I actually lost my granddad in April from COVID. It was a really intense part of the year, really, because the show got cancelled and then I turned 30 and then I ended my relationship and then my granddad died. So it was quite a lot at the time. Yeah, I'm aware a lot of other people were enduring much bigger things, but also trying to acknowledge that it was difficult because for a long time I was just holding my breath, trying to pretend everything was fine. And so I wanted to just read, I did write a poem for him, but it's really, really long. If you want to see it, I did a video for High Tide with it that you can find online called The Perfect Pot to Piss In, is actually what that's called. Because we once went to visit him in the home and he was like, I've got the perfect pot to piss in. And it was like a giant fairy liquid softener bottle, like this big, which is actually, that picture is at the end of that video with my mum in the background, like looking very discerningly at him. That's everything you need to know about my granddad. Well, probably not everything, but a significant part. But actually it also just made me think of my nonna, my grandma. He died a really long time ago, probably best part of 20 years ago now, but it's the first time I'd experienced death and experienced grief. And it's just one of those moments, you know, and I think I learned so much about how complex emotions are in that one moment. And I just feel like I wanted to put this out here for my grandma, my granddad who have passed now, and also I guess my parents who, you know, sort of, what was really great about being here when my granddad died was just being able to be there for my mum. So I sort of wanted to do something around that. It's just a short one and it's called Nonna, from my dad and mum and their own. I lay my hand wide across her face. It is expensive and dark as a roof slate. There are fat puddles under her eyes, shiny with reflections and feet. Still bath water, warm. I run my finger over the film where air and liquid meet, hair and blood thinning. She feels loose as an eyelash. They kept her wired and warm for me, for my hands not yet half the size of her head. They kept her wired and warm for me, my understanding not yet half the size of her death. So I'm going to do a few like really, really new things now. And thank you. So over lockdown, I was really, you know, I was struggling with all these different things and was really worried that just the arts was going to be over. You know, that, I mean, that's the jeopardy that the arts is in financially is still a very scary state, but, you know, wasn't sort of the funding, the 60 billion, whatever, hadn't been announced at that point. I wasn't sure what was going to happen with my career. Fortunately, I've been very lucky to actually, you know, work's been quite good for me this year. Since that point, I'm trying my best to see how I can be involved in supporting the arts as a whole, because there's still a lot of gaps. But one thing I tried to do in that time was write every day. So I did two things, which is as soon as I got up, pretty much, I'd write for 10 minutes, just free write for 10 minutes. And then the other thing I did was do 30-minute write nows on Instagram live. So every single day I'd run a 30-minute writing workout. Lots of people joined in those. I also then, those shifted into weekly justice write nows, which were celebrated, and it's celebrating Black writers and also inspired by the writing of Black writers. And then, so I wrote loads, and lots of people shared their writing with me. And I feel like also I just revised so many of the writers that inspired me to be the writer that I am. So I wanted to share some of the writing from that. If you want to do any of those, they're all on my Instagram. Also, some are on YouTube, some are on Facebook. So though I'm not doing them live anymore because work's super busy, they are still available. So I'd step the lighting up a bit, but now I look really shiny. Let's go with it. Add a bit more shine to the face. Is it too much? That's definitely too much, isn't it? We'll go with moderate. We'll go with moderate shine. Moderate shine with Debris Stevenson. So when I say, so there's a bit of my right nows that we literally, if you've done a workshop with me ever, you'll know one of my favorite exercises inspired by Roger Robinson is 1 minute poems. So you have to write a poem in 1 minute and I give you the title. I've actually cut the title off of this, so who knows what it was. But I'm just going to share 2 of my 1 minute poems, almost completely unedited. I have cut 1 word, 2 words, and added 1. That's the editing that's been done to this. Just to remind myself, as Bogdan Piasecki says, that we have to shit our way to greatness. You have to be shit before you can be good. So here's one of my 1 minute poems, untitled as of yet. It is not enough to love you. I have to crawl into the box locked inside, through the shit and the carcasses at the side of the road and the seatbeltless bodies you have kissed and killed. And I see an email from your ex. Obviously, she wants to get back with you, you suggest. And I want to know why you loved her, beyond the idea that she was beautiful and from where you were from. I'm not where you are from. And that is your compromise. That's my 1 minute untitled poem. We'll give you one more. Oh, wheel. Like there's more than one of me. It's on a Word document, so let me just find it. This one's a bit more jokes. I actually just like this one because I think, you know what I really like about these 1 minute writing exercises is the plot twists that happen at the end when you're running out of time and you're like, ah! It's so funny what you reach for when you're under pressure. This is called Safe as Royalty. I hold my spine like it's a didgeridoo. Remember when they first brought that to school? The look on all the kids' faces. Like we weren't sure what this glazed, spotted stick could do. And I'm not sure either. I am yet to put a mouth to myself and blow, gently enough to hear the sound that floats down and out of me, perfect as a fart. Perfect as a fart! Perfect as a fart. Yes, you are, Debris Stevenson. Okay, I'll do one more. One more new one. So this is actually not from the right now. This is from my 10-minute writing, like free writing I do every morning. And I did that because I really, it's so weird. I've been writing has been my full-time job for over 10 years now, 11 years I've been doing this. And I can still forget that I am capable of writing stuff. So it was really just to remind, and don't get me wrong, it's important to have barren periods where you're not writing. I'm not someone that believes, you need rest days, but it was just to remind myself that it's there. So this is a 10-minute free write I did called Letter to Husband. And actually, I'd give myself a prompt, so I wasn't just writing naked. Though that is a thing that you could do. Never tried that. Want to write that? Anyway, not now. Don't worry, Bridie, everything's fine. You're like getting such an insight into the conversations I have with myself here as well. I played with space. So I played with the space naked right now. No, imagine my viewership would. That's for the OnlyFans right now. It's good to know that I still have a career if everything else hits the fan. You're making me tangent too much, guys. Letter to Husband, and my exercise was to play around with space. on the page. So there's a lot of gaps in the poem, and I'll read those when I'm reading it to you. And this is a really fun exercise that I really enjoy. It's called Letter to Husband. We made an agreement. If we were going to wed, if we are going to kiss, then if we are going to, why? Have you stopped moving your pelvis? You told me saying yes is saying I promise. We can't continue if you can't yes. We are the future. Being with me is being in the future. You can time travel. We traveled all over the world. I cried between dances and you held me so tight I lost my rhythm. We can't kiss and not have sex. We can't be then. You need to take responsibility for what that will make me want. You said, in a year, we need to start building a house. I said, in an ideal world, that made sensibilities sound ridiculous. But I said, yes. I take milk in my coffee. Oats that you never made me, so I put them in the bath. You turned up. You turned up, drank all the rum without the scaffolding. We had agreed, promised, said yes to you being the scaffolding. It took me 18 months to carry all the cement, but you didn't turn up. I mean, you did, but you didn't bring the scaffolding. So you didn't. It took me 18 months to carry all the cement. You were the scaffolding. And you didn't. And I'm setting, so don't you dare etch your name in. Don't have a mic, so I just drop a mouse. Just drop a mouse. It's fine. I think it's fine. Thought it was flashing. Cool. I will read one more poem for you guys. And so one of the other really sad things that happened this year for me in my career, which I'm aware is small in the context of sad things in the world, is that I was working on a project called The Right to Rave. So, which is actually why I have this, my raving light. So I, all my training is as a writer. I actually always really wanted to be a dancer when I was a kid, but really struggled with picking up choreography, and a few people I looked up to kind of said some disparaging things to me, and so I just didn't do it. And I pursued writing. I mean, I love writing, so that's cool. That's not a sob story, but I just thought, let's focus on the writing. Then I started Mouthy, and I was teaching at Nottingham University at the time, and I mean, even before that, actually, I was a waitress at the Slug and Lettuce in the corner house, and but I always had to move. I always had to dance. So I remember I'd work at the Slug and Lettuce. Then at like 1 a.m, I'd leave as quickly as I could, run to my house, quickly put some makeup on, get changed, go out and party on my own. Then even when I was lecturing at Nottingham University, I would still go to the parties. I got to know to this day, I still know a lot of the door staff and the managers of Gatecrasher and Prism and stuff, just because they used to know me. Like, there's that weird girl that's coming to the party sober and on her own, and like I'd become so prepared. I'd know the DJ, I'd come in a tracksuit, get there, I'd have my like raving gear underneath, take the tracksuit off, put it in a bag, give it to the DJ, get in for free, get free water, wouldn't drink anything, would walk home, put my tracksuit back on. And I started doing that all over the world. So I'd be touring as a writer and I'd start partying, and I ended up just meeting so many people on the dance floor, making so many friends, and just many of whom actually, had not necessarily danced before, but I think seeing me, this is what I've been told, not give a shit and just going for it, not technically trained as a dancer, has enabled me to connect with other people that share that passion and that proclivity, and also access that in others. And I've made a lot of lifelong friends all over the world, and basically it led to me sort of accidentally becoming a dancer. People would see me, people would video me, and I'd start working with people. And that sort of evolved into this R&D that I've been working on with the amazing producer Johanna Taylor, The Right to Rave, which is like an immersive theatre experience whereby you have to come and rave, and then a story happens through that. We've only just started developing it. We did our first sharings at Warwick Arts Centre and the South Bank Centre last year. And it was really, this is a good disruption as opportunity story, actually. There were some real issues with us getting people in for free. And that's a big thing for me, that my shows are accessible. You should know that about me. If money is ever an issue, like, always get in touch with me. But I couldn't get anyone in for free. So I just thought, you know what? Disruption is opportunity. I'm bringing 20 to 30 people on stage with me. And they sat around the edge of the stage. I gave them whistles and glow sticks and horns. Me, Disraeli and Amy Fitzdoyley did our R&D. And I just said to them 5 minutes before, do whatever you want. And basically a massive rave happened in the Purcell Room in the South Bank Centre. We ended with Palancing, which is like a big soca tune. Someone then requested it again at the end. The audience got up in their seats and were Palancing all over the place. And it really exceeded my wildest dreams. And it's a really exciting project. If you want to get involved in it, please get in touch with me. I'm always looking for ravers. And we're hoping to restart it next year. But this is currently the final poem in that project. I'm sure it will change, but and I like to think of it as, at the end of the night, this is the lullaby that I sing to myself, and it's called Once This City Was a Garden. Get it up. Just trying to get the text the right size. Daisies, daisies, so amazing. How are you smiling so? With petals so loose and pollen so ripe, will you show me where to go? And the ivy climbs and the sun does shine and the grass whispers so loud. And the buds are puffy as a baby's cheek and the buddleia blossoms proud. Remember once, this city was a garden. Remember once this city was grass. And maybe now the air is illegal, but once she knew how to dance. I've been thinking a lot about chances. I've been thinking a lot about growth. I've been thinking a lot about compost. I've been thinking a lot about health. Step into your garden naked, even though it's 4 meters by 2. Be more excited than the laundry. You're a pillowcase billowing too. Or maybe you've got a bike shed, a window, park or porch. Your skin could be the air. Your skin could be a torch. How could the daisies be so happy when they know they'll die so soon? How could the daisies not be happy when they know they'll die so soon? Remember once, this city was a garden. Remember once, this city was grass. And maybe now her air is illegal, but once she knew how to dance. I've been thinking a lot about chances. I've been thinking a lot about growth. I've been thinking a lot about compost. I've been thinking a lot about health, yeah? Grow, grow, grow yourself. Brighter than the sun. Brighter than your nail polish. Brighter than your rum, yeah? Grow, grow, grow yourself. Brighter than the sun. Brighter than your nail polish. Brighter than your rum. 'Cause remember once, you were a garden. Once you were grass, and maybe now your air is illegal, but once you knew how to dance. And I've been thinking a lot about chances. I've been thinking a lot about growth. I've been thinking a lot about compost, and I've been thinking a lot about health, but maybe you're a daisy. So start smiling so, with petals so loose and pollen so ripe. Will you show me where to go? Will you show me where to go? Will you show me where? Thank you.
Massive thank you to Deborah. Get your hashtags going. Amazing, Deborah. Thank you so much. yeah, just an incredible inspiration to me, to all of the gobs. Like, just can't say it enough, really. So we're gonna get Jay on, and we're gonna have a little bit of a Q&A section between Jay and Debris. So I'm gonna back out, and I will come back in about 15 minutes time. So in a bit.
Wow, great picture, Bridie. Can't see you. Can hear you, yeah. I can see you now. Maybe if I do speak of you. No, that doesn't work for some reason, but okay. I can see if I put you on gallery. Which means I'm very, very small.
I was gonna say, first of all, that was incredible. I love that. Like, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I kind of lost for words with that. Loads of it was absolutely brilliant. I'll get started with some questions. I've got a couple. Oh, can't hear Jay. Can hear Jay in the question.
Can we hear Jay now? Jenny? We can. Good.
Cool. Going to start off like really quite with a open question, and I know you've touched on it a little bit, but how was lockdown in general for you? The first one, not the second one.
Just to keep it, the first one, keep it fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was like a really mixed bag, you know. It was so intense. Yeah, really, really overwhelming. Weirdly, I think I almost found it easier when it was, you know, when it was a total lockdown before things started getting lifted, because there was something about it being so clear and us all going through it together. There was kind of like a warlike mentality in a way to like hunker down and stick together. And there was sort of no real demands on me to do work. But once things started lifting, because I had a breakup and I had to move really quickly, I ended up moving back in with my parents, and my mum's high risk, so I couldn't go anywhere. And, you know, part of that was really beautiful in terms of, I feel like I got to know my parents in a way that otherwise I might never have. And I came to really, you know, I realized things like, well, my family's actually hilarious. And that even when my granddad died, like the first thing my mum did was make like actually a very good joke. She was like, well, he's a Catholic, died on Easter weekend, might come back on Monday. You'd love that. Brilliant. I was like, Mummy, that's just died. Sort of very high level sophisticated joke. Good work. That's what I would do. You know, so I think that was really, I'm really grateful for that. But I mean, that wasn't easy. None of those things were easy. And I think, yeah, it was, I'm very lucky that I had the ability to pay for therapy like every week, the whole way through it. And I don't know how I would have done it without that. I'm pretty sure this is how much I wrote. I mean, I actually wrote more than this, but this is like just this is stuff I like from what I wrote over lockdown. So, but I always say to people, like, look, my problem is productivity, if anything. That sounds like a weird problem to have. It's probably capitalism likes that problem, but you know, my way of dealing with anxiety and depression and stuff is doing stuff. Yeah. So it was almost harder for me to learn to like cry and sit down. And, you know, I'd lost the biggest creative output of my profession. I'd lost a relationship. I'd lost my granddad. And to kind of sit in that pain and grief was almost the biggest lesson I think I had to learn. So yeah, it was really about as complicated and as mixed as a bag can get.
So did you find kind of once you got your head around that in general, the lockdown kind of became easier when you wasn't focusing on particular things that you realized that you didn't need to be, if that makes sense? All the way through.
I think like having a not really, because I think having a, what's the word I'm looking for, routine really anchored me. Like just knowing that when you get up, you write for 10 minutes. I trained every day pretty much. I'd like go cycle to the park, train, cycle back, stretch every day pretty much. And having those things were really anchoring for me. But I think what I did learn was, if you leave me, like I remembered why I'm a writer. You know, for a long time, I've just been focused on jobs. And I mean, those jobs are always led by me and things that I really want to do. But I guess I kind of forgot that if you leave me to my own devices, I write, I dance, I create. That's how I cope. And I think to reroute in that as a component of my humanity was quite liberating. And I think weirdly, like I've been struggling a bit recently. I've been moving into TV and film, and that's a very different industry. And there's this sense of you do whatever people want you to do so that you can make it. And weirdly, you'd think lockdown might make me more eager to do whatever the hell someone tells me to do because they're paying me money. But actually, I think it really did the opposite. I think it did make me realize like what was important, and that the integrity of my work is important. My time to rest and be present and have space for compassion is like, I remember I got to the point where I was getting really stressed out with this production company, and I snapped at my mum when she wasn't feeling well. And I had to really sit down with her and say, I'm so sorry. That is not okay. Like, yes, I'm under stress. Yes, things are really horrible, but I never want to get to the point where that means I am mean to anyone, let alone someone I love. So I think it has weirdly, and I've heard this from a lot of people, I think, helped me refocus on what my priorities are.
I hear that. You touched on then the ridiculous amount of creative outlets that you seem to be involved in and getting involved in. So after hearing that, I'm assuming that writing is your favorite out of that, or would you say there is one that you would class as your favorite creative outlet? Because you're doing all of them, aren't you, under the sun?
It's like a desert island disc style question.
Yeah. One creative outlet is all
on an island. I mean, I think writing is my central thing. I think, like I always say, first and foremost, I am a writer. But what I have learned is like being kinesthetic, being performative, moving. That's often how I generate writing. Okay. So, I did get to a point where I've just recently done my first acting job on a film, and I've got a massive deadline for a TV show at the moment. And literally I was like, look, if you want me to finish this TV show, I have to do this job, because not interacting with people, not moving is making me write in like a very brain focused way, which isn't really my style. My style incorporates human interaction. It's very three-dimensional. So if I'm not moving, if I'm not performing, if I'm not interacting, that really stifles me. So I think they're not one thing. It's like, it's a hybrid orb. And like if it was a bath bomb, it is like the sparkly center of it, but it is
everything kind of with it together.
Yeah, exactly.
Get that. Also wanted to touch on you started Mouthy Poets. So I was wondering what made you want to do that, and what made you just drive that into the force that it became, because it's not really something a lot of people kind of sit there and think about starting, let alone driving it into what it became.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was really so fortunate growing up. Like, I think to see grime being created around me as an art form. So to see people create something so universal out of nothing, and to be on the peripheries of that, watching that happen. Then I was really lucky that the poet Kayo Chingonyi knew me growing up. And so when he saw me spitting, he sort of sent me to the Roundhouse. And, that's such a special place in terms of how, if you don't know the Roundhouse, like they've got all these creative programs, but then they also have a massive music space upstairs that Jay-Z, the Stranglers, like everyone has performed there. And then the money from those goes back into their youth programming. And often the young people program it, they're on the board. It's this really 3D space. And so that's really where my career started. So I think being part of that, and then, if I'm really honest, I think growing up in a religion, I think I saw the power of community. I also saw what the power was of like that community being prejudicial against you and then feeling like you couldn't be part of that. But I think there's so many benefits to that. And, and that's why I'm very respectful of my parents' faith, because I can see that it saved them in so many ways. And then I went to Nottingham, and actually I did some work at New Art Exchange with a group there, and I was living in Hyson Green at the time, and just seeing like so many amazing lyricists and singers and artists. I did some work with community recording studios, and I just felt like, the grime scene's quite big there, and just feeling like it had all the components of East London in so many ways, but like none of the infrastructure specifically for writing. I felt like there was some grassroots stuff happening for dance. I think lots more could happen with dance and lots more should happen there. But it felt like there was this real sort of gap with writing. And so, yeah, I just wanted to make stuff happen. I did a few different things. So I was interacting with young writers in the area. I happened to do some stuff at Nottingham Playhouse. B. Yude, who was there at the time, I think really saw something in me and was so pivotal at smuggling me in. And she really did smuggle me into the building. And yeah, I think it was just that, I think it's really been, you know, grime really taught me that like young disenfranchised people have a voice that should be heard, but for like wildly prejudicial reasons often aren't.
Right.
You know, I'm part of the Tony Blair generation that passed like over 300 laws against young people and put out the mosquito that only people under 30 could hear to disband groups of young people. And there's this really strong sense of my generation needs to be heard, and it's the generation that was like silenced so severely. We didn't have social media in the way Gen X did. Yeah. So yeah, I just think I had a real fire under me, and I think I had resources behind me being from London that a lot of people in Nottingham didn't, and I wanted to redistribute some of that, to be frank.
Yeah, makes sense. I feel like I could get really grime neaky with you, but I'm gonna not, for the benefit of everyone else that is here, and only ask you one question. And I don't know, I think I might know where you're gonna go with this, but I'm interested. Who would you say had more influence on the grime / UK rap scene out of Dizzy and Kano?
More influence, more, I mean, Dizzy had more influence on the scene as a whole would be my answer. Like, for me, Kano is the most well-rounded grime artist that exists, to be frank. Like, I really think, like, live, he is absolutely insane. The progress from one album to another, his work with live instrumentation cannot be beaten by anyone. I mean, arguably, like, but if you were just talking about grime MCs, and MCs, like probably DEE has the most influence because he was teaching, you know, Dizzy, Wiley, Kano, they will all reference him as coming from jungle, which preceded grime music, as being an influencer. So I think it depends, like, you know, and I would argue that maybe, I don't know, maybe more grime artists are influenced by Kano. But I just think Boy in the Corner, winning the Mercury Prize and becoming the first like mainstream album that now sits in pop culture. It was the first bit of grime that sat in pop culture, and that has become a universal reference. Like, my parents know who that person is. And when that happens, it really became a footpath to, you know, when I go to a village in Lebanon, or I go to, you know, a place in fucking Trinidad or whatever, like, people, that's a reference point that everyone has. I think that's why I'd say Dizzy. That's not saying he's my preference of artist. I just think it becomes a cultural reference point that everyone shares, and therefore has enabled more people to get into that genre of music on a universal scale.
I agree with that. I was going to say, obviously you was talking about, and in your first poem, about being dyslexic at school and not kind of been told about it until you were 21. I was quite similar. I got told during my PGCE that I was dyslexic, which, and when they told me, I kind of went, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Oh, all these years make a lot of sense. Is there anything you would say to the teachers that were teaching you, not knowing you were dyslexic, or even teachers now that have kids that might not know are dyslexic or haven't been put through the tests or whatever you want to call them? I
mean, I will say, like, it is so hard for teachers, like, you know, me and Ioney and Bridie, we've worked in schools on a mass scale, and I think, I can't speak for the teachers that spoke to me, but I know that the generations of teachers that exist now, and if you've done a PGCE yourself, PGCE, I can't even, dyslexic, series of letters that mean you learn to teach yourself, you'll know, like, how rough it is in terms of, I've watched teachers full of compassion and love and joy be turned into, like, not very nice people because of the pressures that they're under. So I'm always very cautious about saying, teachers, please, could you do these things? Because I know they're already doing a lot of those things. And it is often that thing, isn't it, that you kind of need 10% contingency to have compassion, I think, very often. But, you know, my general thing is, if you can learn how you learn, you can learn anything. And really, being dyslexic is just, 20% of the population is dyslexic. And all it means is you learn in a different way. And I mean, 20% of the population is really big. I think that's the right percentage. And we're still overrepresented in NASA and like a lot of like highly intelligent areas. It just means like you just learn in a different way. And I think, unfortunately, our education system doesn't really cater for people learning how they learn, because it's just trying to get you to memorize a series of facts very often. I think teachers are put in a difficult position. My school didn't pay for me to get assessed because my grades were too high. Like, that's the reason I didn't get assessed until I was 21. And then they just said, oh, like, you're just lazy or you're just a slow reader, because they couldn't be bothered to do a proper test with me. So I think I would say, don't do that. Don't correlate learning differently from being stupid. I mean, I personally don't think being stupid is a thing, we just all learn differently and we all have different skill sets. Yeah. And I think the more we can do to help people learn how they learn and to give a bit of time to see how someone can work out how they learn with you and maybe approach things from a different level. I mean, even the fact that we sit behind desks, like, if you were made to sit behind a desk for 6 hours a day and memorize information now as an adult, like my 9-year-old godchildren know the times tables better than me. Like, I rate them for doing that. It's really difficult. So I think, teachers are in a difficult situation where we've got an education system that's kind of like based on 18th century bureaucracy or whatever. Like, it is based on, it's not designed to help people learn how they learn. But I think I'm here by the good grace of many, I've got the book. I have the book. Where is it? My English teacher gave me this poetry book and told me to read Sylvia Plath, and I definitely stole it and never gave it back to her. So, but I still have it now, and just said, look, I just think you're creative. I think you do that. And I went to, like, by all intents and purposes, a very bad school in terms of the only thing we got the highest in was truancy. But a lot of teachers gave me a lot of time and compassion. Yeah. They ran an art A level and I was the only person that did it just because they thought I was good at art. So I think I'd just say, like, more of that, man. Yeah. Like,
I hear that. Right. Last thing for me is, what does the future look like for you?
What does the future look like?
What does the future look like for you? Like, what you got coming up? What do you want to do? I mean, you've already done so many things, but what's next on that list of things you want to complete, hit, create?
Yes, I mean, I'm starting to write for TV at the moment. I can't talk too much about it, but I'm working on a few different series that are sort of in development. And I really think that's a genre that suits me. Like, as a writer, I think in a very busy way. And I'm really enjoying that. I would like to be able to do that. Like, with theatre and with Mouthy, I'm always thinking about why. Like, and with Mouthy, so much of it was about just, redistribution of opportunities and using any privileges I had to, like, change things. And, I thought the theatre world was bad, the TV world, in terms of, like, representation and discrimination and stuff is, like, so much worse and so much harder, to be brutally honest. And I'm really trying to work out how I can make space for myself in that industry and make space for others. And again, just utilize any privileges that I have to change things, because the inequality is really, really, really mad. And I'm just even struggling as, like, a working class person, as a person that doesn't have, like, isn't sitting on stacks of money. And I'm really trying to work out how I can do that in a way that creates infrastructural change. And that's kind of always what I'm about. Would love to go into Broadway and work on musicals more. Really want to move Right to Rave to be something that is, like, functions on a global scale. Would like to work in movement a lot more, I think. And really want to learn to do a more efficient handstand.
Well, I wasn't expecting that to finish that off, so fair enough. No, that's everything for me. Gone slightly over the time I was allocated, but never mind. I feel like I'm carrying talking forever. I think Bridie will be back in a second. Thank you very much for that. It was really good.
Thank you.
Wicked. Thank you so much, both of you, for that amazing Q&A. Thank you to everyone in the audience for joining us for this showcase. I just want to say one last time that applications for our next workshop program, which starts in January, are open. The deadline is the 20th of December. Go to gobscollective.org if you want to get involved. Massive thank you to Curated and Created by NTU. Massive thank you to Apples and Snakes for supporting us all the way. And thank you to Nottingham Poetry Festival. This is the last event of Nottingham Poetry Festival. So I really hope you've seen some of the other stuff that's been going on. Yeah, it's been all kinds of crazy, and yeah, it's just the perfect way to round things off for me personally. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed the show. I'd like to invite the rest of GOBS Collective to turn your cameras on, and particularly Ioney, who we've not seen yet, just because like Ioney is such a massive part of this, and you know, has been so supportive to all the GOBS. And yeah, everyone turn your cameras on, and we're just going to say a massive goodbye to our audience. So let's get everybody on screen. Let's get everybody on. Is everybody on? I don't know. Switch to gallery view, I'm being told. Everyone switch to gallery view. Great. Turn your microphones on. Come on, let's have a party. And also massive thank you to Alex over yonder from Maker Met, who has just been incredibly supportive throughout this whole thing. Like setting us up on Zoom, setting us up on our website, everything. It's just been amazing. So yes, thank you everyone in the audience. And GOBS, anything to say?
Go, Bridie!
Yeah, go on, Darren.
Say Gobby.
This is literally what our workshops look like, everyone. Just craziness. Yes, hashtags are coming in. Amazing. Thank you for coming, Diana. Thanks, everyone. All right, GOBS, let's give them a wave. See you all later.